Hello friends and welcome. It's time for another episode of DayOne, our twice weekly show that covers all of the latest and greatest from across the video game industry. Today's day is February 24th, 2026. I'm your host Jon, and joining me in the production hot seat as per usual is the lovely Jesse.
Man, I'm shocked at how heavy that new alpha, that pre-drag made is. If I load that thing, I tried to load that into OBS right now and everything just went, oh, okay, I'll go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It's very nice looking, I think.
Scary.
OBS doesn't like nice looking things, but hello.
No. Yeah, hi. It's Tuesday. We're back. It's been a weekend in the video game world of absolute carnage. It feels weird because we only spoke a few, we had an extra episode, didn't we, on Friday?
Mm-hmm. And then we talked, and then we listened to Nick talk about it a lot on Saturday.
Yeah. He has his thoughts. He has his opinions.
It's his time to shine.
Yeah. Nick, needs his time in the spotlight. He needs to be watered like a flower in the garden. Welcome, everybody. There's a fair bit of news, but honestly, a lot of the focus is still on Friday's news, which, is a thing. Before we go into that, though, I just want to cover off a few site-related things that we have been up to. First off, if you weren't aware, Steam Next Fest is in full swing at the moment, and I think there's something terrifying, like 3,000 demos.
Emails? Oh.
Yeah, also emails saying, please cover our Steam demo. There's some really good stuff in there, though, to go check out. I've had a quick go on The Eternal Life of Goldman, which is very impressive and artistically superb. And our lovely Gyotso has written a piece on Vampire Crawlers, which is the new Vampire Survivors spin-off that's got a demo exclusively on Steam and Xbox at the moment, which is fun. So you should go check that out. That's live on the site.
It will be a Game Pass game.
Yes, apparently it will. That's always nice. If Game Pass is even around next week. But elsewhere, you spoke a little bit about it on Saturday during the podcast. You flew off to New York last week and checked out the new WWE 2K26 game. And there's a preview live on the site, and you did things a little bit differently for this one.
I did. It was myself and Jez in a collab between DayOne and Windows Central, because him and I were both at the event in Stamford, Connecticut. We went and played. We both really liked what we played. It is an impressive fighting game with a ridiculous amount of content in it. So there's a 32-minute, because, Jez can be verbose. Jess, your mic is ging. I don't know what that means.
Going? Pinging?
I don't know. But we got there just ahead of all of the insane weather, which is nice. There's a massive blizzard hitting New York. It's buzzing. Yeah, I honestly don't know why. I've changed nothing, but I noticed that when I plugged everything in this morning that it was buzzing real bad. But yeah, so there's a preview up. In the preview, it's not just us talking. I did put a lot of footage in there. So if you care at all about the game, I keep missing the footage somehow. Yeah, so there's lots of footage throughout the entire thing. It's mostly just pretty basic because I could only show a couple of match types because they had embargoes throughout the whole week and stuff. But,
it did strike me as odd that tons of other outlets had here's our exclusive, and they had different modes and three.
All right. You can pop. Okay, people can hear me, but I don't hear myself, which means I can't hear you. So no one can hear you when I tried restarting this. Come on, audio. Oh, you know what? I got to go back into StreamYard, don't I? Okay. Boop, boop. All right, that's weird. I should be able to hear you. I can hear the testing sound inside of StreamYard, but I don't hear you, Jon. Let me restart. Let me refresh real quick. 1 sec, everyone. and you guys can still hear me. But for some reason, even though the StreamYard page is working, all right. Yeah, for some reason, I just had to reload StreamYard. I don't know why I couldn't hear you.
That's okay. We're back.
It's weird. I don't have any mic monitoring, which is very weird for me with this setup. I don't like the way I can't hear anything. But does it sound any better? I just did a simple turn off, turn on.
I mean, it always sounded fine to me, but as long as the chat's happy, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
People are mocking the production skills right now. Dear. Call ourselves professional. I
wasn't going to call you out for it, but it's almost like there was zero prep because you didn't show up until 30 seconds before we went live.
Well, the reason I didn't show up 30 seconds before we went live is because someone posted about some new news, and then when I was like, "You've got 26 minutes to write about it," they were like,
I'm the afternoon and night crew when all the big news actually hits." Unless you want to start paying me for 14-hour days every day.
No, heaven forbid. Absolutely not. Okay, technical worries aside, you had fun with WWE 2K26.
It was a fun event. It was a weird thing going there because flew out Wednesday evening and then flew home Thursday evening. Like took a Uber straight from the event right back to the airport and then immediately wrote everything down. It was a fun time. There was a ridiculous amount of food. We got to do a whole tour and whatnot. It's a very, very good looking game. It felt pretty darn polished, which has been one of the main issues for a little while around the WWE title since they came back. They were pretty buggy to start, but these last few years, more and more polished. It's just a really good looking game with pretty much everything you could ever ask for. Starts at $70 and goes all the way up to 140 or 50. I think $150 for like their super duper everything edition. But most of that is just like instead of 400 wrestlers, you have like 500. I don't know. There's so much content in the game. I think most people will be fine with the base version. It was really fun. It is very reversal heavy, and to get good at the reversals, you need to kind of learn a lot of the animations. And for some people, that might be a little off-putting because it's a lot to memorize. But if it's your big game, if it's what you're playing all the time, it's really good.
Cool. I'm good. I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm happy for you. We've been working on some stuff. There's lots coming this week, to be honest with you. It's very busy here at DayOne HQ.
I have working on a Dice A Million review. I also got the TCG Card Shop Simulator, a couple of Game Pass games. Dice A Million's only PC to start with, kind of like Death Howl and everything. So I also got Avowed on PS5. I'm going to take a look at maybe tomorrow. So lots of stuff coming while I wait for Friday to then stream and review the ever-loving hell out of Resident Evil.
Yeah, world's fastest review. God damn you, MSN publisher.
It'll still be 2 days late, but from what I've heard about the embargo, the restrictions on that one are nuts.
Oh, fun times.
Because I want to avoid spoilers for their game that has already completely leaked online. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, that is a shame. Anyway, there's other things coming out this week. Like, isn't Towerborn coming out as 1.0 later on this week, Thursday?
I think so, yeah. It was part of the last drop, wasn't it?
Yep.
Like Towerborn hit 1.0.
Yeah. It's probably do something about that. Let's talk about news. Let's talk about all the news. And obviously the big headline topics are still the big upheaval at Microsoft and Xbox that saw Phil Spencer retire, Sarah Bond resign, Matt Booty get a promotion, and a new CEO take the helm in the form of Asha Sharma, who has been promoted internally from within the core AI team at Microsoft. There's a huge amount to kind of talk about here, and a lot of the scuttlebutt and discussion is arguably centered around a couple of things. One being that across the weekend, and certainly after the announcement on Friday, the new CEO took to social media to engage with the gamers.
Like a fish in toxic water.
Now, unfortunately, perhaps she was not pre-warned. It's fine to do that, but don't engage with those people. We all know what we're talking about here, right? And I think someone did be like, stop responding to that guy. And then it's all kind of quietened down a bit. But there's been a lot of criticism because she revealed her gamer tag, and when people started to dig into the gamer tag, they found that, you know, there was a healthy 10,000 gamer score unlocked, but it was a shared account that was, you know, a lot of her family have been using. And she's commented a little bit on that. So there's that part of it, and we'll come back to that in a second, because she had some direct stuff to say in response to some of the people calling her out. But the bigger kind of discussion point at the moment, and it was a point of contention across Friday on the news drop, and indeed come the weekend when a new report from Tom Warren released. I think it actually released yesterday, inside the drama at Microsoft HQ. And the story is basically that this resignation and this Phil retiring and all of that was actually meant to be announced today. And IGN
yesterday.
Monday, sorry, yes. And then IGN got hold of it early, and we're going to run a news story, so they were forced to push, which is why Sarah Bond didn't have a statement ready. And it followed a little bit later on LinkedIn. But Tom's done some digging, and some of the stuff he's reporting, and I want to give Tom fair dues here. A lot of people are calling his piece a hit piece on Sarah Bond, who has obviously now exited the Xbox business, because it highlights perhaps some of the internal kerfuffle around her management style and things of that nature, which, as I mentioned on our Friday show, before Tom Warren's report, that I'd already heard things of that nature from within Microsoft. It's not, let's blame Sarah Bond for every possible bad thing that Xbox has ever done. I don't think that's Tom's intent. It's certainly not mine.
When you're at the top of a division, and she was the president of Xbox, when you have initiatives that could have started before you or that could come from above, if they don't work the way they're supposed to, then you are the one who eats it. That is the nature of being an executive.
I think it's a bit of a shame in the way that Phil perhaps is to a degree.
It feels like he's
this carefully.
By.
He gets to walk into the sunset, loved by the most. But the buck stops with him, and arguably then the buck stops with Satya Nadella.
You say most, but you look at certain websites that are putting up rest in piss pieces, and it's like, it's not really. But also, as her boss, her failures, whether they're hers or not, are also his. Like, that is just the way it all actually works in the eyes of corporate companies. And in the long run, they are both unbelievably wealthy, in the top 1%, most likely, and will be fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to be jerks and attack them. You probably also don't need to defend them.
Yeah, exactly right. They're super rich. And,
when the uprising comes, they're the type of people that would be eaten alongside all the other rich.
Or they would fly off to the secret bunker, hidden away in
underground in Colorado
somewhere. But yes, Tom Warren's report was fairly broad, and it talked about a number of things.
Bad word to use right now.
Yeah. But yeah, the team, and I'm going to read some quotes here from Tom's report. I do recommend going and reading the full thing. I will put a link in the chat to The Verge. Oh, it's too long. I can't, because it's a gift link. I'll just take off the gift part. I don't know. Go look on our website. There's a link to it there.
Yeah, the gift links are very long. They won't fit in YouTube normally.
But apparently the team running Sarah Bond's social media accounts were so unprepared that a LinkedIn post inviting people to provide feedback about Xbox accessibility features went live before her departure was announced. And it sat there for hours until Bond's team eventually posted her own, goodbye note. We pointed out at the time, Satya Nadella and Asha Sharma all said nice things about Phil Spencer, but didn't mention Sarah Bond at all. Phil did. There's all sorts of stuff there that is a bit like, what went on? Bond was credited for being crucial in getting the Activision Blizzard deal over the line. And indeed, that aligns, like super fierce, super competitor internally in terms of getting that sort of thing done.
If you like Asian games, you can thank her for a lot of what has come to Xbox. She championed that real hard. Like, people are going to go over because it's curious, why not her? And so that is what's coming out right now, is why not her? Why not Sarah Bond? And it's not Sarah Bond never did anything useful and is terrible. Like, no, she helping get the Activision Blizzard deal through. If you're Nick, you think that killed them. In reality, it probably kept them open. And if you really like Final Fantasy and all these other games from Japan and Korea and China and stuff, like her and to a lesser degree Phil were really big about getting probably the best support they've ever had. And she was the chief reason for that, her and her team.
Yeah. But yes, Tom Warren writes here that I understand that Bond's strategy had been failing internally and been questioned multiple times. Bond had tried to push mobile and cloud over console to reach potentially millions more Xbox customers, but the result has been a classic case of chasing tomorrow's customers by neglecting today's. Phil Spencer's retirement seemed inevitable to Xbox employees, particularly over the last year. In February, Spencer took a long vacation, and I'm told some teams had to wait weeks for sign-off on some key changes. And shortly after this, rumours started circulating inside Microsoft that Spencer was getting ready to retire. There's a lot here. Talk a little bit about Asha Sharma, those that know her describe her as an enthusiastic, willing to learn, and very capable of getting teams to execute on a clear vision rather than coming in as a product executioner.
Which is interesting, given what good old Seamus said in his interview, where he just fully assumed she is coming in to sunset Xbox, which is like, if you wanted to sunset their hardware and make them all AI and just a publisher, wouldn't you just have gone with Matt Booty and not replaced Phil essentially at all? Or if you did, not have all these we're recommitting to Xbox and the console statements. Like,
I mean, look, Seamus is an outspoken character. We've had him on the show. You can read our article on the website about this, but he was interviewed by Dean Takahashi at GamesBeat for a chit chat about all of this new stuff, and he said that Xbox, like a lot of businesses that aren't the core AI business, is being sunsetted. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. I expect the new CEO, Asha Sharma, her job is going to be a palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. Like, I don't think that's true, because Xbox is one of the last consumer-facing brands that Microsoft has.
They have that in Windows, and they made more last fiscal year there than they did with Windows for like the first time.
Yeah. So, but Asha's coming in, she's saying the right things, and per some of the discussion online where she was appearing and commenting on different bits and pieces, she responded to Ryan McCaffrey at IGN on Twitter, who was like, don't fake this stuff. And she actually responded, and this is what she said. She said, I agree, faking would be a terrible idea and wouldn't work. I also didn't expect my gamer tag to blow up, and the reality is more boring. I created it recently to learn and understand this world. I've played with my family, and it's a shared home account across devices, which you can see in the range of games and achievements. I fixed that this weekend, and everyone is now only playing on their own gamer tags. But I get where this is coming from. I do not pretend to be the best gamer, and even though I'm playing, that's still not my goal. My focus is to make Xbox the best place to play, return to our roots, ship great things, and become stronger for the future. And yes, I'm writing my own posts, smiley face. Because, yeah, there were accusations. Of course, this is just an AI running this. You know, I think unlike others or others that were in Microsoft leadership, she does actually write her own posts. How long that will stay true, whether she will be...
Yeah, Jez said they don't do the intern thing, really.
Doing that?
Like he said, it's just not really a thing at Microsoft to have like a social media intern, because it always adds a game of phone call in between, unless it's literally Trump yelling at someone and they just have to dictate what he's writing, and that's why they put it in caps, because he's yelling it. It will be interesting. Then Ryan's follow-up was pretty much, you should have a whole voucher system for day one in games in the premium tier.
I don't agree with Ryan's idea.
That's not going to happen, Ryan.
Love you, Ryan, but no. So yeah, there's a lot of drama, really. A lot of drama, a lot of people. This is the frustrating thing with this sort of thing, is that nobody has every single piece of information, and the whole, every pundit out there is going 2 + 2 = 5, and then they're just running with it, and then we're off in this world of conspiracy theories and nonsense. I've written about it over the weekend. I put a piece out called Schrodinger's Xbox. I did speak about it on the Saturday podcast. The nutshell is, I think we are far better served to just, let's see what happens. All right. It's certainly not going to get any worse in terms of how Microsoft has run, or is it? But right now, I'm not going to freak off and fly off at the handle and get weird and silly about it until something bad actually happens. People have been crying for new leadership. Now you've got it. You might not like who it is, but if you're making that judgment just off of her previous job role, because she's seen, if you look at her LinkedIn, she has just gone up and up and up and up. So she's clearly good at something, right? She might be really good at this job. Let's give her a chance.
Yeah, people Ryan called her a meta AI. So she wasn't. She was at the Messenger group when they went when they went tenfold from like 100 million to a billion
focusing
users.
On user acquisition.
Yeah, like that's absolutely what they want. They want exactly the same thing Sony wants. They want user acquisition. That is their main goal, because that's the hardest thing to do right now, is to get someone's attention is so hard. It is. There's nothing more difficult than getting someone to spend their time with you. And if they spend their time with you, maybe they'll spend some money with you. So here's a big question. And this is what I see a lot of people doing, is weirdly believing now, like, because she replied on Twitter to someone being like, exclusives are important. And she replied, hear you. Like, that suddenly we're going to get a complete reversal of everything Xbox has been doing over the last, since 2017, nearly 10 years, since PC became a thing, and then, you know, this recent multi-platform push. And you've got to think that multi-platform pushes, games are made 3 or 4 years in advance, and that's built into the pipeline. Like, it's real hard to suddenly hit the brakes on that sort of thing. Do I think that that's going to happen? No. Do I want to see the return of a more competitive Microsoft and a little bit less kumbaya? Yeah. But I don't think that the removal of exclusives is the source of their hardware woes. Exclusively. That's not the industry. The industry is literally everyone keeps having to go to customers. You can't yoink them into yourself. You have to go and find them where they are to get them to try and use your product. That's not like the leadership at Microsoft gaming changing doesn't change the trajectory of the industry, which changed roughly 10 years ago because of live service games. Like we're not relatively new into this. It's people are finally starting to accept it, but then this happened. And so now they're using this happening as a reason to try and get back to what they know from growing up, which has been long dead for a while. And the only ones who still try it are Nintendo, and they do pretty well, but even they had to swap, and they had to, instead of everything's on your Nintendo when you want something from us, now you can go to the movies or you can go to a theme park, because we need new customers, or we need our existing customers to give us more money, which is also exactly what Sony said. They're not growing new customers, they're transitioning customers from their old gen to their new gen, and they need them to spend more money to be able to grow. Oh. Wow. Do I say anything? Sorry, audio listeners.
Fuck's sake.
You
Stupid
don't
mute
want me to
button.
tell you.
Yeah. I'm looking at the chat. There's a couple of points here that I think are salient. And Phil said some of this, previously in the past, but I'm just looking at the chat and there's a couple of things I want to highlight. Didaxborough, what does no kumbaya mean? I don't mean like not doing what they're currently doing, but bringing back a little bit of that competitive spirit. Like, I don't know, I don't think we've got it in the news runner, but like it came out recently that Crimson Desert Sony tried to buy that one and effectively pay to take it away from everybody on the Xbox platform. Like Sony, despite getting all of these extra games from Microsoft.
It was 7 years ago or something like that. Though.
Still,
I know.
But they want to do this thing and they still pursue it. They still pursue these sorts of deals because their one goal is to make Xbox or make PlayStation the best place to play, right? That's their goal. And understandably, they own PlayStation. Microsoft, by saying that, hey, well, we could do that, but then all that really happens is we have to pay more because we've got far less of a market share.
And they will get hit way harder for it than anyone else.
And people whinge. Tomb Raider 2013 says hi, right? People whinge about it. They can't do it in the same way. So, and Phil's pointed this out before, is that you're not suddenly going to get people refusing or going out and buying an Xbox just because there's a game there that they can't play. Like, it just doesn't seem to work that way anymore.
Just look at the Epic Store.
Yeah.
People won't install a different launcher on their already existing hardware.
So I think I just want to see a little bit more competitiveness in terms of we're going to do something different and how do we differentiate and how do we actually push and sell our product? Like, I want to see a little bit more fire from Microsoft because like the last year or two, they've just given up. They've given up trying to sell the hardware. They're not talking about it. They've upped the prices, and I get that that's beyond their control to a degree, but come on, Microsoft,
FedEx
you have the biggest amount of fuck you money humanly possible. Like,
it's all about that ROI, but you saw FedEx just sued the government to get their tariff money back. So,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean lower prices for anyone, by the way. We won't get any pennies back, and we still pay more in the long run. But, like, they were a big reason, it seems, why Sarah didn't get the job was the push was mobile and cloud. The Xbox, this is an Xbox campaign, please, for the love of shit, use everything else. It didn't get enough, even if it's grown a bit. I don't think most people want to play console games on mobile, which is why we have a story later about a mobile game that Xbox is making, one of their publishing arms. But like that, this is an Xbox is what I think will change, and they will start pushing the console more. That is just what it feels like again, because a lot of those before they swap over to the new cloud servers, which it seems like they might have already done in some cases, because people have,
maybe in some places
people are like, Jesus, this looks and runs way better. But like whenever you get those Series S performance cloud games, that was a potential Series X they didn't make because they wanted to push it to the cloud. And so even if they just swap that out and there's less going to the cloud and there's more going back to stores around the world. And I had someone in the YouTube comments of the last show or the podcast be like, hey, or no, it was my stream yesterday of the god-awful Resident Evil 6 game that I got refunded. They were like, I could still find them on Amazon in America. And I'm like, yeah, but it's every other territory just kind of stopped getting them. That was the main issue. Like, you couldn't find it in Europe for years. And if you could, it's insanely expensive. Like, they stopped globally shipping series consoles. They were selling just fine up until they stopped doing that. And so now, because they've been so hard to find for so long, yeah, they probably sell like shit, and they've got to work back to get people's belief that they are going to be around. I think that is the main thing about what she's been saying, is that they are trying to rebuild customer trust and get the Xbox dead narrative out of there, and it's going to take a while.
I'm sorry, Usher. You'll never get rid of that narrative. But look, I think it's early days. Like, she's been on the job for exactly 2 days, so let's see what happens. We've got GDC coming up in a couple of weeks. I will be there. I have no idea if Ash is going to be there. If she is, and I get the opportunity to have a conversation, I've got questions. I'd love to ask. We'll see. Other little tidbit is Matt Booty shared his own memo as well that was not in the original 3 that went out. And there's, it's all nice stuff, but in there he also mentions that there are no organizational changes ahead for Xbox Studios.
That would take a while. That wouldn't be something quick. That would be something like, okay, I've been on the job for 6 months. Now we might make some of these changes now that I know and I'm familiar with stuff. And if that leads to like job losses or not, it sucks. But we won't know. We probably wouldn't know for at least a little while, you would think.
Yeah. It's just going to take some time to sift all of this out. But when you've got
horribly.
Yeah. And you have got, it feels like at least over half of the industry in terms of the people that write about games being like, they're over, it's cooked. But then those same people have been saying that for 5 years or longer. So, they've limped on thus far. Here's your new blood. Let's see what it brings. Let's see how things shake out.
I had put it in there. There's a good, for people who are wondering, like, return to Xbox kind of and what that means. I had put a tweet thread. Arthur Gies, formerly of Polygon, who is now at, what is it? I want to make sure I get it right. Supervising editor at Wirecutter for tech. He does a lot of computer stuff. I've been following him a lot around the Rampocalypse. He was replying to Matt Piscatella, who quoted the Seamus piece. And he said his read is much more different. Shaking things up suggests a bit of a hedge. They realize Xbox fading might be bad, actually. And as much as I like and will defend most of Phil's tenure, Microsoft has set him up to utterly lack credibility with regards to a righting of the ship or some kind of restoration of Xbox hardware, regardless of why Xbox stumbled. Only new faces can say change is here. Tom Warren replied, yeah, if they wanted to sunset the platform and hardware, then just put Booty in charge and go full game publisher instead. They want to grow the amount of people using the Xbox platform, thus why they put someone in charge with growth experience. And then Arthur was like, and they need people to blame for what's happened that aren't Satya and Amy, so Phil has to go, in the last 5 years, designated eater of bullshit for bad leadership decisions. Sarah also can't be the face of change. Corporate politics. It's like,
they're probably not wrong.
Unless you're the tippity top, you will eat failures for the people at the tippity top. If you like, there's no getting around it. That's just the way it works. Like, Microsoft is a behemoth, and a lot of people are like, "Wow, this must have happened really quick." It's like, no, that they had the normal plan of a Monday. Bring in, you're starting right now, and Phil and Sarah are there with you through the summer to help you transition into understanding and knowing your job. The normal, like, I think Jim Ryan was the weird one where they didn't have anyone for like a month or two, and then they did their double structure, and then their double structure even changed. It is what it is, and people will read in, and it's vague enough, and will never know enough facts that people will always read into it in the way that best matches how they either want to feel or worry things will go. Like, I want this to be good, so I'm going to assume it's good, or I want it to be bad, so I assume it's going to be bad, or I'm really scared it's going to be bad, so I'm just going to assume it's bad type of stuff.
Yeah, like, I will always side-eye a little bit, like, anyone being like, yeah, Asher, you're the best. Like, we don't know her yet. Like I'm all for getting to know this person, giving them a chance, but, like, Xbox has this weird thing in its fandom, and it's because of previous Xbox leadership. This parasocial, like, oh, I know these guys. No, you don't. You do not know these people. They are images on social media, and you have been consumed and fed an image. And look, if we take Tom Warren's report about how people felt internally about Sarah at face value, then the image that was projected of another gamer rising in the ranks was not true. If that is what we take at face value, right? And all I would say is, like, we get this as well, like running this website and stuff. There, we hang out in the Discord, we chat, and sometimes a user, and I'm not going to name any names, will say something that is like, who the fuck are you? Like, you don't know me. Like, but I understand that for that user, maybe they feel like they do. They hang out with us every week. They watch the show. They listen to this podcast. You know, they've heard me and the team chatting for 45 plus days, you know, if they've been watching for the last 7 years. Slow your roll.
When you're not around,
you don't know my life.
They hear me and Nick make in-jokes where we are playing things up for comedy. Because you guys do know me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that creates this kind of like, not shield, a real relationship.
This child-shaped like shield that you hide behind.
But look, I think that's very real, and I think Microsoft should not, like, Ashley will do what she wants to do. I think they should elect to do exactly what all of the other big C-level executives do. Shut the fuck up and get on with the job. All right?
Let Stein and his team do their stuff.
Yeah, let Stein and the folks that are in charge of this stuff to do this stuff. He was in LA. Yeah. He was in and out, which I've yet to try, and is on my list for this summer. But anyway, just everyone cool your jets, right? It's just video games.
And we're a couple weeks away from them finally confirming essentially what the next gen is. Yeah,
we'll certainly, hopefully hear some tidbits at GDC. So I will be bringing reporting from the floor as best I can.
I will probably, I'm hoping to be balls deep into Crimson Desert by that point. So it's going to be really hard to, you ride a dragon. It's going to be really hard when I'm balls deep.
Balls deep in riding a dragon. What? Sorry?
Yeah. They're behind me and they're being squished. But to do all the news while you're gone. So I don't like your trips.
You got this. Anyway, let's have a look at some other stuff. And what better than to continue with all of this discussion with a nice chunk of bad news. There's nothing good here in this next section.
Yeah, they're going to mostly be shorter hitters because it's miserable to talk about.
Yeah, and a lot of it we've kind of already gone in detail. Yes, I think this happened after the show on Thursday, but Sony shuttered development studio Bluepoint Games, in case you missed it.
One of the dumbest, the dumbest of all the studio closures there have been between Microsoft, Embracer, Sony themselves. Like, this one doesn't make sense. Where you can look at everything else and be like, okay, I get it. Hi-Fi Rush might have done really well, but Tango had lost a lot of leadership. They're in a different time zone. For all those reasons, they tried to sell them. They couldn't. It sucks. But I base understand why, even if I absolutely hate it. But this one, I don't get at all.
It's not good. It feels very short-term thinking in many ways to me. But like, if you want to hear the full rant, Nick was wonderful about all of this on Saturday. He was very passionate about the closure of Bluepoint Games, as were many PlayStation and Bluepoint Games fans who just do not understand why.
Including Detective Seeds, who's been harassing people through LinkedIn.
Yes. Like, Jesus Christ, man. But that's not the only closure, I'm afraid, dear people, dear friends. Tencent have closed Teamy Montreal, a game studio that is fairly recent. Like, it's 5 years old. It's never released a game. It's now closed, which is a bit of a bummer. It was originally announced to be creating a AAA open world multi-platform game. And now
Tencent is not interested in running other studios anymore.
Indeed, seems that way. Destiny 2, Shadow and Order. The folks at Bungie have announced a long delay of like a quarter of a year.
And it's weird. It's a long delay to add more, which is just generally not what happens in those types of things. Like, it was really close, but it was also coming out right when Marathon did. Which was always weird.
It was meant to be coming out on March the 3rd. And now they have announced that the next major update for Destiny 2, Shadow and Order, is undergoing large revisions and will be delayed. The update is being changed and expanded to include sizable quality of life updates, and as a result will also be renamed. And it's now scheduled to launch, whatever it's going to be called, on June the 9th. So if you're a Destiny 2 fan, sit tight, I guess. In other news, Saints Row's design director recently expressed his opinions on the franchise, saying that he thinks the franchise is dead.
Yeah.
This is the series game designer Chris Stockman, who popped up in a Discord chat, and it was noticed by Eurogamer. He shared his thoughts about the franchise and said, in reply to someone who was saying that they love Saints Row and that it sucks that there was, the last canon game was released over a decade ago. And he just replied and said, yeah, I honestly think the franchise is dead, unfortunately. I get the sense that Embracer has zero ability to do anything with it. I wish things were different. I tried my best to offer a path forward, but they've ghosted me. Oof, bummer. So any Saints Row fans in the house? Sorry.
I actually barely ever played the original games, and then I quite enjoyed the reboot. But I wasn't the target audience, I guess, because seems like no one else did, even though I was like, this is very fun to play once you get through the first few hours and unlocking up stuff, which is always a rough thing when you don't have a great start.
Yeah.
Kind of like this game.
Amazon Games King of Meat, which had, Mr. Beast tie-in promotional things and all sorts of stuff.
An enormous marketing budget that could have paid for many games on its own. Ignoring
all of that, it wasn't a bad game either. It had a really imaginative level dungeon creator for people to create user-generated content. It looks nice. It played fun. It was silly. It was like Fall Guys meets, I don't know, a dungeon crawler, I suppose. But Glowmade, unfortunately, have announced that the game is going to close and the servers will shut down on April 9th due to just a lack of audience.
Yep.
Are you surprised?
No. I think they had already kind of talked about the studio being full of layoffs and having issues. So seeing that come to the game just being blapped out of existence was inevitable, unfortunately.
I like, there are some times like I sit here and I've had this conversation with publishers as I look at the industry and I see announces and you just think, nope. Like, how is no one else having this conversation internally yet? Like, nope. But it is what it is. I think a lot of the times, like an idea might have been approved and greenlit 5 years ago. 5 years too long, and now it's out. Yep. It's not going to work. So that's a shame. And this one's not really bad news because a delay is no big
Unless
deal.
Unless you were really looking forward to it and you don't have 900 games you're trying to play.
Indeed. But just like Replaced, who saw a delay announced a week or so ago for a month or so, Mouse, PI for Hire, is equally getting a short delay of around a month, mostly just to, get it to where they want it to be. Shared in social media, they said, we've made a decision to move the release date of Mouse PI for Hire to the 16th of April 2026. As we approach the final stages of development, we want to ensure we're taking the extra time and care needed to make Mouse PI for Hire an experience to remember. We remain unwavering in our goal to deliver you the best game we can, and that will just take a few extra weeks. So, good for them. Fimi Games, every time I've seen it, I'm like, this is such a cool, unique looking game. I hope it does really well for them. Can't wait to see more. Yep. Can't wait to see more. And then we've just got a few other news bits, but I'm going to pause for a moment because I saw a lovely question from Woodstar Forges, who says, question, which is the better buy? The base Xbox ROG Ally Windows 11 handheld gaming PC or the regular Republic of Gamers Ally Z1 Extreme handheld gaming Windows 11
Z1
PC.
Extreme just lost its driver support. They just stopped. They said they're not going to do many more updates for it because of
that's a shame.
Yeah. So I would say you're going to get a better performance out of the original. You're going to get better support out of the new. The new feels a lot better to hold, but it also
the ergonomics count for a lot.
Yeah.
Weirdly,
it won't run games as well, but it can potentially run them for longer.
Yeah.
If you're
I would go with the new.
Yeah. If you're that AAA type, rob a bank and get the Ally X. Yeah. Otherwise, I can't even say look at a Steam Deck because the Steam Deck is like $650 because you want the good OLED that has the anti-glare coating. But that's not even in stock most of the time. But yeah, support all around is going to be better for longer on the new one, though it will not be able to run newer games as well.
Yeah. It's a good question. Good answer. Last few news stories now to wrap up the show. Ubisoft announced a new leadership team for Assassin's Creed, and it's formed of most of the.
Okay, I cannot run that subscription button. You turned into a robot when I tried.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, it's fixed.
Yeah. New leadership team. Isn't that fun? They've shared some news on one of their biggest franchises, and in a blog post on Ubisoft's website, they've gone into detail on the leaders who Ubisoft say will play a pivotal role in driving the Assassin's Creed brand's long-term vision, creative ambition, and continued growth. So we've got Martin Schelling, who's been named head of Assassin's Creed brand and is responsible for the overall strategy and long-term vision. Jon Guzson, who's been appointed head of content for the brand. He will overall look after the creative direction and support individual games and guide the future of Assassin's Creed while staying true to its core DNA. And then we've got Francois Debilly, who's the head of production excellence, which he will strengthen production practices and execution across the brand.
Excellently.
Yeah, everyone's great, says Ubisoft. Everything's great. And if you didn't know this, in a Variety interview, Yves Guillemot shared that they are working on multiple new titles across both the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry franchises.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Do you know what? Like, I want to say a thing. I have some information that says to me that I have a date for when Black Flag Remake is going to release. But
if it's from Tom Henderson, he's been wrong on everything. So
yeah, I'm going to try and verify that information before I do anything with it.
Did you see his report that there was an NFT Assassin's Creed card game that used the blockchain that was canceled?
Ugh. Oh, well, that's probably smart of them because that sounds terrible.
We put $400 million into the Assassin's Creed NFT game, and now we must fire 5,000 employees to pay for it.
Oh, Ubisoft. I can't stop yawning today. I don't know if I slept bad or whatever. Like, I swear, man, international travel just knocks me for a loop for like 2 weeks, and I've got to go do it again in 2 weeks. If you are looking forward to Forza Horizon 6...
Who isn't?
Yeah, I know, right? Playground Games have detailed some more bits and pieces for its campaign. There's a whole heap of information in a new blog post. You can access the highlights via this link and then go forth and read even more if you want to.
It looks, it's back to, and Nick will probably be happy, it is back to pretty much the original's progression in so many ways, which is funny.
I really
never beat the original. I got bored. So I'm really curious how this one is. I think this one will be better for me, but
there's a running joke between my IRL friends. Is one of our guys, KP. He knows who he is. He was like a big Forza Horizon original fan back when it wasn't a huge, massive franchise. It was this new thing. And he was like, guys, everyone should check this out. And then when Forza Horizon 2 came, I just started saying, I told everyone to check it out. He was like, no, you didn't. I didn't. I just pretended that I was the one that was like,
and his actual name, Kristaps Porzingis, NBA player.
Yeah, that's actually his name. How did you know?
Yeah, because he's 7 feet tall.
That's right. So yeah, in the new one, it's a progression-driven structure. Japan is somewhere that you will come in as a tourist, you will be a nobody, and you will have to go and take on sort of challenges to then unlock wristbands and unlock new areas before you earn enough to actually access Legend Island, because you're now a Horizon legend. And then there's stuff to go and do and explore and just sightsee around Japan and collect stamps. It all sounds really good.
Building your whole base is going to get a lot of people excited.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, this is for the first time, certainly for this franchise, it is cross-save across all the platforms, including the as of yet no launch date, but it is coming at some point, PlayStation 5. So if you're playing there and then you play on your handheld or you play on Steam or you play on Xbox Series consoles, you'll be able to take your save game around with
Imagine
you.
you just log into your
sounds very nice.
Microsoft account and blam. That's how they've done it for other games that Microsoft has published on PlayStation and Switch and whatnot.
Yeah.
And in exciting news, if you are into bad car movies that are mostly action flicks, Han, Sun Kang is the face of a promotion that you can go enter now on the Xbox Wire to maybe potentially win a trip for an adventure in Japan. He's a big car guy. He was in Tokyo Drift. Really good Korean American actor. Been in a lot of stuff. Really like him a lot. And it was cool to see him in this little promo. It said he wrote the blog post on the Xbox Wire, which I'm guessing is neat that it says his name and writing and all that, but it was mostly legal, I'd imagine.
Who knows? Sounds cool,
It's a contest, so I don't want to write up a contest blog. I would much rather have legal help me make sure I don't get the company in any trouble.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Last three. The Elder Scrolls Online is confirmed to be going Play Anywhere soon. The PC listing is up, but it's not installable, playable yet. But the team are working on it, and soon it will be a Play Anywhere title. It is
a really weird way they're doing it, where it just is there and you can install it, but it's a 20 megabyte stub file, and it probably won't be ready to play for 6 months or something. Because they did confirm for ESO, sadly not yet for Fallout 76, cross progression and cross play and stuff. Because the games obviously were not built for that from the beginning, which is why it's always been if you're on the Windows Store, if you're on the Xbox Store, if you're on Steam, you got different saves and different people you play with everywhere. And so seeing this one go Play Anywhere immediately means between Xbox and PC, it should just be the same game with the same save. How that works, hopefully it's like the Destiny style, where you're like, this is my main save. This is the one I want everywhere. Or they merge them all so you have all your characters everywhere. That would probably be best for an MMO.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's cool that they're doing it anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
I imagine it is. Or if Microsoft Dev tools are as amazing as they say, it's all done in a day and they're just waiting now. We'll find out. Last couple of news stories now. Nioh 3, which is exclusively available on PlayStation 5 and PC, is out. And it's already sold 1 million copies. It's the fastest it's hit 1 million in franchise history. Good for them. You've played a bit of it, right?
It's essentially Team Ninja, who are also restructuring right now. That was just in the news. They're restructuring in multiple ways. Part of Team 1 is going over to Gust, and then Team 2 is splitting into Team 1 and Team 2. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like their Elden Ring. It's very pretty, really fun to play, very fast, but extremely complicated if you've never played the series before. It doesn't start that way, but eventually it gets very deep and dense, and it's a very good game that I enjoyed quite a bit. I'd love to cover more of it, but it's probably going to be way too busy to do that anytime soon, but I'm going to, throughout the year, do my best to keep playing through that game, probably on streams and stuff. Just thinking I had the game of the year, because I really liked what I played, so...
Man, we're just drowning in great games.
Despite how bad management is, games keep coming out and being great.
Yep, I love it. I'm going to download the demo for Vampire Crawlers. I want to play that now. I'm going to download the demo for Darwin's Paradox, because I really want to check that out too. I've already played the Eternal Life of Goldman, which honestly looks incredible. Downside is it's very small on a handheld. It doesn't feel great as a handheld game, which I feel like is a massive miss. There's just so much.
Yeah, we should have coverage for Monster Hero Stories 3 Sparta from one Cengiz. I know he's interested. So,
yeah. Last news story of the day. A
breaking
surprise.
one.
Surprise! Blizzard, just going from strength to strength, have announced a new Overwatch spin-off. It's a mobile game. It's called Overwatch Rush. There's a few previews from some select outlets, not us, including Game Informer, that were invited to just get an early hands-on with this in-development title. But there is a video that kind of details it a little bit. What Blizzard say is that Overwatch Rush is a top-down hero shooter designed specifically for mobile, set in the Overwatch universe. It's being developed by a dedicated team at Blizzard, separate from Team 4, all of whom have deep mobile experience. Team 4 remains fully focused on Overwatch, the actual game, which will continue to bring exciting and fresh new experiences for PC and console players in its recently launched Season 1 and beyond. Overwatch Rush is an entirely new game. It's not a port, and it's built specifically for mobile players. And as we prepare for testing Overwatch Rush in select countries and regions, please join their Discord server. There's a link in our article, which you can find on DayOne. Yeah, it looks all right.
It's a twin stick.
Neat.
It's like, it's a twin stick shooter, but an Overwatch match. It looks cool.
Yeah.
Everyone already playing the Warlock class early in Blizzard in Diablo 4, and as part of that, some of them got snagged into this. Of course, we weren't invited. I don't expect to be invited to most things. We're not that big, but
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
because we are awesome.
If we could ever if we could ever get memberships working, maybe we get there.
Honestly, poor old Pre-Drag, he is slammed. We are working on it. We're going as fast as we can.
The moment they're working, we're going to be doing a big old subathon early next month before John leaves for GDC is the goal.
I also might be able to pay for my hotel.
Because I didn't even put it in there, because as we saw yesterday, Summer Games Fest coming back June 5th through the 8th. I forgot to put it in there, but we were invited. We're going. If we can afford it, that'll be in large part to you, because we don't have any financial backers.
It's up to you.
It's up to you to help us, not to carry us. But if you want to carry us, I wouldn't say no. Yeah.
It is worth mentioning as well. I've just put a social tweet out, but like, if you haven't, please do. If you haven't checked out the brand new shiny website, playday.one, I want you to go there right now and have a look around. I want your feedback as to how you feel it operates on desktop. I want your thoughts as to if it looks nice on mobile. I want to hear from you if you think, oh, this should have this, or
this should have ads.
Has this and I don't like it. I want all of the feedback, good and bad, because, it's the prettiest video game website on the internet right now, and we want to know how to make sure that we can maintain that prettiness.
And if you want to have
full of ads right now.
Yeah, if you want to have it always look like this and not be full of ads, once you have a membership or anything, you won't. You can just pay and not have ads on this website for as long as you pay. It's not a ton of money. Yeah. You don't need to have one of them pesky little ad blockers that I fully understand why people do them, but they kill independent businesses.
Yeah. Oh, and yes, as mentioned by Rico Scott 9916 in the chat, if you're on Android and iOS, you can actually install both our forums and the website directly onto your phone as a web app, and it will load as if it's an app. It's super cool that this works in this way. But just as an example, there's my phone, and if I press this button, it loads up, and bosh, there's the website, and it's like an app. And look, there's no URL browser at the bottom. It's just the things. It's come on, give us your feedback. That's it, though. We'll be back on Thursday for another episode of Headlines, where we'll round up all of the crazy things that will probably happen between right now and then. Hopefully, no more studio closures or big leadership changes. But
now that you've mentioned
probably something horrible. Yeah, touch wood. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Do hit the like button before you close your browser window. And if you love what we do, consider joining our Discord, discord.gg/playday1, or our forums, which you can find through the website, www.playday.one. See you next time.
Ciao for now.
Bye.